And so we find ourselves in Revelation 13. For those of you who have been following along and or those of you who are new to my channel, be aware, if you are not, that I am presently writing a written study of the book of Revelation, line by line, word by word, chapter by chapter, verse by verse. And we are presently in Revelation 13. This is all contained in one ongoing document on my academia page. It's called A Study of the Revelation of Jesus Christ. Revelation 1 through 12 are complete. And when I put these books on Amazon, I am putting them there by chapter. So what I have available there is chapters 1 through 11 separately. And then Revelation 11:15 through Revelation 15:8 is going to be one book, which encompasses all of the midpoint chapters. These charts that I'm about to take you through are going to be the setup work to my Revelation 13 study. I recently did a video going through everything I have written regarding Revelation 11:15 through the end of Revelation 12. And the first two charts that I'm going to show you in this video are in there for good reason. Now, what we're actually focusing on here is specifically what is in green. In the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate. This is color-coded to talk about specifically the midst of the week, and this is down here related to the cessation of sacrifices and offerings, Revelation 13:5 and 6. So we're going to get to that in the Revelation study. It is very precisely pinpointed in Revelation 13 in verses 5 and 6 to correlate to the midpoint of Daniel's 70th week. But what we might not know, or what might not have been clear, is that trumpet 6 is actually where the beast who commits the abomination of desolation ascends out of the bottomless pit. He is defined, he is named specifically and titled in Revelation 9:11. He ascends out of the bottomless pit precisely in Revelation 11:7, overcomes and kills the two witnesses. Now, the Revelation 11:7 and Revelation 13:1 are the same thing. So this is where we find ourselves amidst trumpet 6. We're kind of backtracking. This is why I put this together. It's the second chart that I have in these midpoint chapters, because you see how things are both parallel and sequential across Revelation 10 through 15. Specifically, we've already discussed in great detail the prophecy of given in Revelation 10:7, in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he had declared to his servants the prophets. That is also in Revelation 12:1 through 5, the visual representation, and then the auditory representation is in Revelation 14:6 and 7. And then the abomination of desolation is a reaction to the preaching of the everlasting gospel. But in order to go into the temple and declare himself to be above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, he actually has to be on the scene. I have written on my community tab and told you verbally that if you don't understand or don't know or haven't listened to all that I have stated before on this subject regarding the Revelation 6 rider on the white horse and the Revelation 13 beast being two different people, then I have a playlist going through all of that. And I am going to also discuss it in my Revelation 13 study, however, probably not at significantly great length, because I've already done that in my Revelation 9 and Revelation 11 studies. Revelation builds upon itself in context. It provides its own context and then builds upon it. So it already gave us all of the information that we need to be able to ascertain that the Revelation 6 rider and the Revelation 13 beast are not the same. So these studies have already been done. If you are new to this concept, new to this idea, then I would encourage you to watch the playlist, at least a video or two out of the playlist that I have on my channel discussing the differences between these. But I will also discuss it, just not in significant detail, in Revelation 13. Now that is subject to change, being that I haven't actually started writing it. So I am of the mind that more explanation is better than less explanation. However, I will say I've already explained it in previous Revelation study chapters. What we observe from this is Revelation 11:7, the beast ascending out of the bottomless pit for the express purpose of overcoming and killing the two witnesses, is the same thing as Revelation 13:1's beast rising up out of the sea. Amidst trumpet 6, he ascends, again for the express purpose of overcoming and killing the two witnesses. Their bodies lie dead in the street for 3.5 days. Then the breath of God breathes life back into them. They stand on their feet and they ascend to heaven in a cloud. That cloud is the 144,000 witnesses who you next see standing on heavenly Mount Zion with the Lamb singing their own song of physical redemption. So Revelation 14:1-5 is also amidst trumpet 6. Revelation 14:6-7 is then the preaching of the everlasting gospel, which we were told would occur in the days of the voice of the seventh angel when he shall begin to sound. So Revelation 14:1-5 is also amidst trumpet 6, just as the beginning of Revelation 13 is amidst trumpet 6. And then you have it moving into trumpet 7, specifically as it relates to the abomination of desolation, and the beast being given power to continue 40 months. Now, the reason I say that this is important to understand, that this Revelation 13 actually tells us parallel events going on amidst trumpet 6 and leads into trumpet 7, is because it's important to note that this is midpoint. There are too many people who attribute the events of Revelation 13 to the beginning of the 70th week. That is totally and completely in error. And the reason I say that it is totally and completely in error is because the beast cannot possibly ascend out of the bottomless pit until said pit is opened, which is trumpet 5. And we are specifically stated that he does so in Revelation 11:7 amidst trumpet 6 for the express purpose of overcoming and killing the two witnesses. Rising up out of the sea is the same thing as ascending out of the bottomless pit. So there is no way that he could have anything to do with a time period amidst the 70th week prior to the time he ascends out of the bottomless pit, which is overtly stated in the plain text to be 3.5 days prior to the midpoint of the 70th week. So that is when the beast arrives. His rising up out of the sea, his ascending out of the bottomless pit, is 3.5 days prior to the midpoint of the 70th week. And then he is given power to continue 40 months. So again, I say, if you are unfamiliar with the concept that the Revelation 6 rider and the Revelation 13 beast are different, I would encourage you to get familiar with that concept. And again, I have a playlist and videos. I have gone over this quite a bit, because it is necessary information to show you precisely where we are in the sequence of midpoint events from Revelation 13. And this brings us into the chart that I haven't yet included in this study, which I will be including in this study. It is imperative to understand Daniel in order to understand Revelation 13. And the reason I say this is because the beast who will rise up out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns is the fourth part of the statue, is the fourth beast from Daniel 2 and from Daniel 7. There are a lot of people who like to throw Rome in there. Rome, for this purpose, is irrelevant. It is Babylon, which was the head of gold, the lion. It is Medo-Persia, who was the chest and arms of silver, the bear. It is Greece, who was the belly and thighs of brass, or the leopard. And it is the beast and 10 kings, who are the legs of iron, which is your beast and your false prophet, and your feet of iron and miry clay, which is the 10 kings, the 10 toes, and their rule over the people. Daniel 8 talks about this. This is why when we go to Revelation 13, we are given the same imagery. I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. We are intended to understand very specifically that this Revelation 13 beast is the fourth beast mentioned in Daniel, is the fourth kingdom mentioned in Daniel, and the three, the lion, the leopard, and the bear that came before it, are similar to, but as Daniel 7 says, this one is diverse from the three that came before it, and it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet thereof. Yes, it did, because he's given power over the nations to essentially tread them underfoot. This is specifically stated in Revelation 13:7. It was given unto him to make war with the saints, to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. This is why Daniel 7 says he was diverse from the three that came before. But he devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. The feet being related to the beast and the false prophet, because legs are attached, or feet are attached to legs. You have the legs of iron, your beast and false prophet, and your 10 toes, 10 kings. So the beast, the false prophet, and the 10 kings essentially trample on these people. So it's important, very important, to understand how closely Daniel is tied to the imagery in Revelation 13. In multiple places, Daniel 2, Daniel 7, Daniel 8, Daniel 9, and Daniel 11. We are going to be going through all of these. And so I am going to, almost by necessity, be including this chart in my Revelation 13 study. And then when we get to Revelation 17 and 18, I will be including it again because there is nothing new under the sun. Prophecy is pattern. Where it started in Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar and the head of gold, the lion, is precisely where it's going to finish. The woman riding the beast. The woman is Zechariah 5's woman in the ephah, who is wickedness, who will be set upon its own base in the land of Shinar. The woman riding the beast answers to 3 names. She is mystery. What is the mystery of that woman? She is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth, Babylon the Great. And in contrast to New Jerusalem, which is described as a bride, she is the harlot, the one who stands against God, the one who stands against God's law, God's ways, God's holiness, God's justice. And she is the great harlot, mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth, in contrast to a bride. So it's part of the contrast between New Jerusalem and Babylon. But regardless, Zechariah 5 tells us that the woman in the ephah, wickedness, the woman who rides the beast, will be established upon its own base in the land of Shinar. Shinar is Daniel 1:1, where Daniel was carted off to amidst the Babylonian captivity. This is a reinstitution of Babel, of the one world, the original one world with Nimrod and the tower to reach up into the heavens to overthrow God. The original one world everything comes full circle, and it goes back to its origins in Babylon, which is where Daniel started, amidst the Babylonian captivity. So that will be pertinent to Revelation 17 and 18. There is no such thing as mystery Babylon. There are 3 descriptors of the woman. Mystery, comma, Babylon the Great, comma, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. So what is the mystery? Specifically stated in Revelation 17, the last verse of the chapter. I will tell you the mystery of that great woman. I will tell you the mystery of that woman. The woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. What great city? Babylon the Great, the second of her descriptors. And the description of the city itself is that it's full of everything that stands against God. So this chart is going to be important in Revelation 13 and also Revelation 17 and 18. But what we must understand is that the things that are color-coded black relate to Revelation 13's beast, false prophet, and 10 kings. There is, regarding the abomination of desolation, this is also in Daniel 7, because he's the little horn that comes up among the 10, says that there were 3 that came before him plucked up by the roots. That is a reference to the lion, leopard, and the bear. He is the 4th. Diverse from them, but similar too. So he's described as the little horn that comes up among the 10, given a mouth speaking great words. And it's because of the words which the little horn spake that his body will be given to the burning flame. That's Revelation 19, where the beast and the false prophet are thrown into the lake of fire. And then specifically in Daniel 8 and Daniel 11, we are told specifically what the abomination of desolation is. Him magnifying himself in his heart, Daniel 8. And Daniel 11, telling us that the king shall do according to his will. He shall exalt himself, magnify himself above every god, shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. Read, given power to continue 40 and 2 months. And these are things that Daniel 9 tells us very specifically will happen at the midpoint of the 70th week. So this is where we go back to this, and we're talking about the midpoint chapters, and we're talking about these specific items. The beast rising up out of the sea, that's Daniel 7. And the deadly head wound that he appears to receive is on account of his skirmish with the 2 witnesses. We are very specifically told in Revelation 11 that they have power to overcome and kill those who attempt to hurt them in the manner that they were attempted to be hurt. So the appearance of a deadly head wound is because he overcomes them and kills them. However, he is an angel and cannot be killed. He's a spirit being. Cannot be killed. So he has the appearance of one. And because the 2 witnesses tormented everyone that dwelt on the earth with plagues and the shutting up of the heavens and all of that for 3.5 years, and there was such ecstatic joy that they were overcome and killed, of course the world who hates Israel and who hates the 2 witnesses and who hates God is going to rejoice at the one who is able to overcome them when no one else could, which is why they begin to worship the beast and why they have no issue worshiping his image or receiving a mark related to him. But before the world can do that, there are 3 angels which fly through the midst of the heaven. The first one preaches the everlasting gospel, which again, the abomination of desolation is a reactionary event too. The angel goes into the temple and, the angel flies through the midst of heaven telling everyone to fear God and worship the Creator Jesus. And then the beast goes into the temple and declares himself to be above all that the angel just said worship. That precipitates the flight of the remnant, which precipitates Michael standing up on behalf of Israel and getting them into her place in the wilderness where they will be nourished for a time, times and a half. And that leads into worship of the beast, the image of the beast, receiving the mark of the beast, which Angel 3 in Revelation 14 says, do not do. Angel 2 preaches the imminent destruction of Babylon, which is how you know that that is when Babylon begins to be reestablished, because the angel is basically saying, don't even bother, it's a lost cause, but hey, you do you. And then Revelation 17 and 18 tells why that was a lost cause, because it was always intended to be destroyed. This is where we come to the midpoint of the 70th week with regard to understanding more specifically about the beast. And it's impossible to do that without Daniel. Everything in black on this chart relates to what we're going to be talking about in Revelation 13 with regard to the beast. So we're going to spend quite a bit of time in Daniel, understanding more specifically Daniel's references to the king. Yes, in Daniel 8, and yes, in Daniel 11, because he is the king of the locusts, the angel of the bottomless pit. And Revelation 17 tells us he's presently in the bottomless pit. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Yes, his ascension out of the bottomless pit is in Revelation 11:7 and Revelation 13:1. They're showing the same thing amidst trumpet 6, and then he's given power to continue 40 and 2 months. So I'm going to leave it here, just giving a brief introduction of Revelation 13 and what we're going to be talking about with respect to Daniel. But again, if you are unfamiliar with the concept that the Revelation 6 rider and the Revelation 13 beast are different, then there is some other research I would implore you to do. Otherwise, you are going to be lost in this conversation, and I do not wish for you to be lost. So check out the playlist I have about that very subject, and if you have other questions, let me know.